So in this video, I want to talk about optical disk. So optical disks provide large storage capacity in a very inexpensive way. Basically, they become in a number of variety, including CD ROM, DVD, and worm. So many large computer installations produce document output and on optical disk rather than a paper. So this idea is called a code, that's computer output laser disk. It is estimated that optical disks can endure for hundreds of years, and other media are good for only a decade at best. Okay, so basically the optical disk can be used to store data for very long time. CD-ROM were designed by music industry in 1980 and later on adapted to the data storage. This history is reflected by the fact that data is recorded in a single spiral track starting from center of the disk and spanning outward. On the other hand, the binary 1 and 0 are delineated by bumps in the polycarbonate this substrate, and the transition between pitch and length define binary one. If you could unravel a full CD-ROM track, it could be a nearly 5 miles long. So that's huge. Condensed binary string is going to be stored in a CD-ROM. The logical data format for a CD-ROM is much more complex than that of the magnetic disk we discussed in the previous video. Different formats are also provided for different type data. For example, this is for the format for data, and for music also different. Basically, the two levels of error correction are provided for the data format. Because of this reason, the CD holds at most a 650 megabyte of data, but it can contain more or store more information. That's gonna be corresponding to the capacity of 742 megabyte of music. Okay. The second optical disk we call it DVD. So can be thought as the quad density CD. So variety including single-sided, single layer, single-sided double layer, or double-sided double layer, and double-sided double layer. So different cap standard for different DVDs. That also provide a different storage capacity as well. So one CD-ROM can hold at most a 650 megabyte of data, and a typical DVD can hold as much as a 17 gigabyte of data. One of the reasons for this is that DVD employ a laser that has a shorter wavelength compared with the CD laser. So this allows a pitch and length to be much closer together, and the spiral track can be a wound tighter. So this make the same size of DVD, but we can condense more information, more data into the same size of the space. A shorter wavelength light can read and write by greater density than can be done with the longer wavelength laser. So this is one of the reasons that DVD density is the greatest compared with that of the CD. The 405 nanometer wavelength of blue violet light is much shorter compared with the red light, that's 550 nanometer, or orange 650 nanometer in the CD. So the manufacture of blue violet laser can now be done economically, bringing about next generation of laser disc. That's a Blu-ray disc format won the market dominant over the HD CD only mainly to the influence of Sony. That's the company that support for the Blu-ray format. So the HD CD are backward compatible with DVD, agree, and but hold less data compared with the uh, uh, Blu-ray disc format. So Blu-ray were developed by a consortium of 9 companies that include Sony, Samsung, and Pioneer. For the Blu-ray, the maximum capacity of a single Blu-ray disc is the 25 gigabyte. A multiple layer can be stacked up to a depth of 6, and only double layer discs are available for the home use. Blue violet laser discs are so also in the data center. So basically the intention is provide to mean for long-term data storage and retrieval. That's the two type of the standard that's the dominant in the market right now. First one, that's a Sony professional disk for data, that's PDD, that can store a 23 gigabyte on one disk. And the other one, that's a Plasma ultra density optical UDO that can hold up to 30 gigabyte of data. So it's soon to tell which of the technology will emerge as the winner, but right now we can see that the market still adopt and multiple standard, and also them still available in different standard format. It's gonna be depend on the user choice and also the need of the user as well. The next one, we talk about the magnetic tape. So the first generation of magnetic tapes were not much more than the analog recording tape, having the capacity of 11 megabyte. So in this way, in this technology, data were usually written in a 9 vertical track. So here you can see that a magnetic tape right here have the track from 0 to track 8, and you can see that basically track 8 is a parity, so that's gonna be for checking the value stored in the from track 0 to track 7. And the information gonna have the one block right here. You can record record. We have the some gap in between different records that we go inter-record gap, and so we have a different block of the information. That is the bigger gap that we inter-block gap, and basically a block right here is containing a two record right here. So the information gonna be stored in the vertical instead of a in the horizontal. So for example, the to encode the letter H, that's gonna be ASCII representation of letter H right here, 110 excuse me 01000. Okay. So basically that the information gonna be represented in vertical instead of a horizontal. So with this magnetic tape, so basically the information gonna be accessed in a sequence. So we need to access one by one instead of random access as the magnetic disk, and we discussed in the previous video. Okay, so this one just very basic information about the optical disk. More detailed information you can find in the website, also in the textbook. So